Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter
452.
It is the second day of the week, aka the special beam cannon workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Strangely, everybody in my life is left-handed. Well, not really everybody, but it is something that I noticed and wanted to make an episode about because this is a very strange coincidence. And if there's anything I've learned in this world, there are no coincidences. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about that, mostly because it's weird. It's a weird coincidence, but there has to be something to it. Now, of course, I could be overlooking some things and, it's whatever. But the thing is that makes it more interesting is the fact that everybody is, like a majority of people are right-handed. I don't think that is changed, really. So, it's very weird that statistically, me having 3 different people in my life that are all left-handed that I predominantly spend a lot of my time with, it's all very much a weird coincidence. So I wanted to talk more about that because it's very weird and not necessarily bad in a bad way or anything like that, but more so just an interesting coincidence that maybe something in the universe is trying to tell me something, or maybe nothing at all, but it is something that I wonder if other people have experienced this, whether it be something like some type of genetic thing that all of a sudden the people that are around them have or something like that. But so in today's episode, we're going to be looking at that, maybe some other examples of that happening in other people's and lives and the common complaints I've heard all of my life. But anyways, we'll talk about that and a few other things when we get to Mother Base.
All right, so started this day off with squats, which are pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Strangely, everyone in my life is left-handed. Well, this was something that was the case, but not anymore. As of the releasing of this video, my coworker, who I will talk about in a few moments, is leaving. She's going somewhere else, but we spent together about 2 years working together, so that was nice. The 3 people that this video was about were the 3 left-handed people in my life, one of which was my wife, which I've been with for quite some time, and then I would say one of my best friends, Walter, who's one of the editors on this channel, shout out Walter, who is also left-handed, and then it was my coworker who was or is still left-handed, but she's leaving, so that kind of changes the dynamic a little of this video in and of itself. But I do find it interesting that for a while there, for like a good year and a plus, the people that I interacted with the most, not necessarily every single person that I interacted with, but these are the 3 that I interacted with the most. One that I spent all my time at home with, one that I actually talked to online all the time, and the other one that I spent all of my time at workout with. They were all left-handed, which was very interesting because I don't think many people have this many left-handed people within their lives, even as my coworker is leaving. God bless her. Good luck to her on her journey, by the way, if she's watching this for some reason. But it is interesting to think about all of the people that are in my life regularly, at least the 2 that I talk to and have been there for probably almost 2 decades now at this point, and just seeing just kind of an influence. I guess it's just interesting to think about because one thing, I don't think left-handed people are that normal per se. I think that there's it's 1 in every 10, I think, or some statistical anomaly like that. But to get 3 all at once is kind of weird. I would say that it would almost be like the universe is telling me something. Maybe I should follow the left-hand path somewhere. Maybe I should look into whatever the hell the left-hand path is, right? But then again, I don't know. Maybe that's just something where others are there for me to not have to take that path, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I don't know how to read into it, but we'll get back to that. It's not necessarily the strangest thing in the world, but it is an interesting thing nonetheless. I do not believe in coincidence, so this was weird for me, and I always thought about it as to what could this mean, and I don't know why it was so important to me, but it is interesting nonetheless. One of the funnier things I think that I personally had to deal with as a righty is the left-handed stuff, as they would always complain about the same things, and I always found that funny, but that's just neither here nor there type of thing. I just think metaphysically, of course, why would this happen? I don't know why, and I don't know how. And even if it is not of a big deal, I do truly wonder what was it that made it so that this would appear in my life. Because it's not common. I think people, it's like knowing somebody who's ambidextrous. It's one of those things that you just kind of remember, you don't necessarily forget about that. But it's just interesting to me. And it's like as if I would want to figure out what this means, but really maybe I just attract those people who are left-handed. But then again, does that really even matter? Does the left hand mean something within in and of itself? Does that mean that they are different pathways of thinking in their life versus how I think? Well, of course, in a certain sense, they are different than how I think, but not all the time. Some of us agree on more things than others, and others we do not. It's just as simple as that. But I do find it interesting that this happened, and I don't know many others that are left-handed, so it's just kind of crazy. Now, there will be probably people that would say that's not a big deal, obviously, that this just kind of happens. But then again, how does this happen for multiple people in one's life? I think that it's one of the rarer things to find people who are left-handed within your life than not find it. I almost seem like nowadays it's more, for me personally, more normal to find a left-handed person, which is an interesting thing. It's like a pathway that all of a sudden gets unlocked and all these things. Maybe these people do play a role in my life in some way, shape, or fashion that I am not aware of yet, as of yet. But at the same time, of course, some do, because, well, one is my wife. So yeah, that is something. But also as well, could they be just interesting dynamics between myself and the other, and what that could represent in the metaphysical space? Because of course, this is just such a strange thing to happen. I don't know if anybody else has ever really had something like this, or where some other type of familiarity or some type of crazy eventual like synchronicity that has happened between others' lives are all interconnected together. Something else could be like this, but I wonder what this means. You know, for me, it's as simple as what their dominant hand is left hand. That's not that huge of a deal in theory, but also as well, it does make me wonder about things like the left and right-handed pathway, and trying to figure out maybe this should be a sign for me to follow the left-handed path and figure out what's going on with all of that. Or maybe I'm looking way too deep into this. Maybe this isn't that serious. Maybe this has just happened to happen type of deal. But I don't believe in coincidences. I do believe that there are things out there for a reason. So we'll maybe talk about that particular idea on a different day.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debrief. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. All the important people in my life are left-handed. So the main reason why I want to discuss this is because I don't believe in coincidences. I don't necessarily believe in them because there are things that happen for a reason. I don't think that things just happen to happen. Things always happen for some type of reason, way, or shape or form. I don't know what it is or what it represents. The only thing that's really left, and I'll have to say it'll be funny, is if my nephew ends up becoming, or is left-handed. Because if that happens, holy shit, that'll be the craziest coincidence ever. But not really, because then there has to be something there. Why? What is the deal with left-handed people? Sorry to sound like Jerry Seinfeld there. But still, it's just an interesting dynamic because, like I said, it's rare to find left-handed people in general, but to have multiple in my life that are all like prominent people in my life too is a very weird thing to happen. And I don't think that this is something that is normal / I should just ignore. I don't know what it means, but I think I have to just try to figure it out. Hopefully this video I've tried to figure it out during the voiceover, but I have no idea. And this will be a time to really sit there and contemplate whether or not these things are freak accidents or just something is there in the air that should tell me to go to something that I'm not thinking about. I don't know what. But it's just very interesting to see this happen, you know, specifically because two of those people have been part of my life for quite some time. So at this point, it's kind of like the two people that I talk to the most are both the same left-handed. So it's very interesting to even have that dynamic on its own. But introducing a third is kind of also insane. But it's like, I don't even know if there are some people out there that don't even know anybody that's left-handed. That's probably uncommon it is, I think. But I actually don't know. I'd probably do some deep dive on the statistics about it, hopefully in the voiceover, maybe, but I also don't trust statistics because statistics can lie. So that is a whole other episode for a whole other day. But with that being said, Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If you have a random reoccurrence that keeps happening with the people around you, please let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, if it's like we're all the same age, yeah, that makes sense if you're like all high school friends or something like that. But if it's all like we've all been in a car crash at the age of 8, you know what I mean? That's when it starts getting weird and very interesting. But please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy, stay safe out there, and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.